Hi, this is Katie with craftingwithkatie.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make another card using the Everyday Pop-Up Cards Cricut cartridge. The card that I'm going to make today is this Just a Note card, and I'm going to go ahead and make the card base, and I am going to go ahead and use the phrase with all of its layers, and I'll be using the bird on the outside of the card. And then for the inside, the pop-up I'm going to use is the bird cage with the bird. And I'll actually go ahead and put these layers on this bird too to make it a little more interesting. Okay, I've gone ahead and cut out the base of my card at 5.5 inches. And I went ahead and put together the front of the card because that's the easy part. So all I have here is a piece of brown cardstock that is cut at 5 1/4, and usually it would be 4 inches this way, but I cut off 1/8 inch because of the curve down here, so it's 3 7/8 inches. And then this paper here, the distressed dots, is cut at 5 inches across, and then it's cut at 3 5/8 down. Just a Note is cut at 2.5 inches. And then I cut the bird at 1.5 inches so I could just put him on top. And I ran my letters through the Swiss Dots Cuttlebug folder, added a little bit of stitching, and then you can see this note here is actually the cutout from here. I just put it up there. Okay, so now we're ready to make all of the cuts for the pop-up. So what I'm going to do is go to my matte screen, my overlay, and you can see the bird there. So I just need to click on the pop-up, and there it is. So I will choose that and go back to my mat. And it's very tiny. I experimented with this a little bit, and I discovered that it works well to have the pop-up here be 6 inches. Okay. Now, I want to do 2 different colors, one for the bird and one for the bird cage. So what I'm going to do is go to my Advanced tab, and I'm going to copy this image. So now I have 2 of them. Now, I don't want to have to cut out both each time, so if you click on this is the Hide Contour button. And if you hit this top left button, you can scroll your way through and hide. So right now there's a teeny little red light there showing that that's where I am. So if I click hide and then go to the next one, and actually I'm going to go backwards because it's going to take me all through the bird cage. I'm hiding the bird right now. So I'm just going to keep hitting hide and the little button to go backwards. And there we go. So that one's set. So I'll click OK. And then over here for this one, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to be hiding all of the bird cage. Okay, so I have those 2 parts. Now I'm going to focus on the bird. So I would like for my bird to not be all one color. I'm going to make this piece brown, and that'll make his legs brown, but I need layers for his body. So I'm going to go back to my overlay, take off the pop-up. So you can see that's the full bird. I don't need his legs because they're going to be on that pop-up piece. But if I hit shift, I get his body. Then if I take off the shift and go to layer 1, I get the wing and the beak. And that's all I want. Okay, we'll go back to basics so we can see the size. So right now it's set at 1 inch. So if I hold down this top left button and click on my image, it's a little bit bigger. And that's actually a pretty good match. It's maybe a teeny bit bigger, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut out all of these pieces. I'm going to do my bird in that same pink as I had on the front of the card with the yellow wing. Do brown for the bird pop-up. And I'm going to do that polka dotted paper for the bird cage. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out. Okay, I've got all my little pieces cut off, and if you can see, some of them are really tiny. So for the bird, because his little eye is so small, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger using a 1/16 inch punch. So go ahead and do that. That's better. And then I'm going to be scoring this. All right, I've got my score pal, and anywhere where you see it come in a little bit, you know that is a place to score. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm doing this from a crazy angle here. I'm going to go ahead and score that one. And there's really small little notches in here to show you should be scoring right here, but you don't want to get the middle part, so we'll just kind of go around it. And then the last one will be down where it comes in again at the bottom. Just line that up well. Okay, so that is the 3 places. All right, so that's for the bird cage. Now for the bird, I'm going to go ahead and score it before I put my layers on. So there's the one spot down here. And then here, it's just basically up to his little neck. You can see that. And then it kind of automatically scores up at the top part. Oh, and there's one more little teeny one right here. It's all very small. Okay, so I went ahead and used some paper tray cardstock for my bird. I don't know if you've seen my video on the umbrella pop-up, but I had some problems using a thinner paper on that one because the umbrella handle was so thin. And you can see the bird legs are super thin here too, and I didn't want to come in to the same problem with it bending. So I went with a thicker paper. Okay. This is actually going to go inside of the cage. All right, so we are back to my bird. And I'm going to use a little Scotch Quick Dry to put the beak on, which is a really teeny piece. It'd be good to be using tweezers with this, but I didn't have any out. Okay, and then the feather goes like that. So I'll just go ahead and adhere that on. All right, and so then I'm just going to need to attach that to the little pop-up, which just makes it a lot more interesting than just having the brown. So it's kind of a pain trying to get the layers just right. You definitely need something like the Gypsy or Design Studio, but I think it's worth it for the looks. It's probably a little bit too much glue. There we go. I'm just going to let that dry for a second. Okay, so now we're ready to adhere our pop-ups to the inside of the card. And if you look at this, the way this is going to attach is like this. And so it's a pretty wide space. But then within that area is where you're going to have the little bird. So it'll look like he's inside the cage. So this is our first step, is to adhere this. Okay, so like I mentioned last time, it's helpful to have some kind of box to line this up so it's going to be at a 90-degree angle, and that'll just help everything line up the right way. And I'm just going to go ahead and start with doing the bottom. And I'm going to do the top at the same time. I'm noticing, I think the top is a little bit going to be sticking out a little bit more than the bottom, so this way I can really see how everything's lined up. Alright, that's dry, so we're ready to do the bird cage. And this is just going to go right in front of it. So I'll start again with the bottom. Go ahead and set that down. And then the top will just go straight across. Okay, I have that put together, and then I just noticed that my bird is the same color as my background. So I decided to go ahead and make a little background. So I pulled it off. Luckily it wasn't stuck completely. So I'm just going to put some ATG tape. This piece of brown cardstock is the same size as the one on the front, which was 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. I'm just going to put that on here, and that'll just make my bird stand out a little more. Okay, and then I'll just glue those back together. Okay, so that is now adhered, and here's what it looks like. Isn't that so cute? So you can see the bird is inside the cage, and it just closes up. You open it to get the cute little pop-up. Thanks for watching.